everyone, welcome back. It is the first YouTube lesson for this week. On Monday it was a review. On Tuesday we had our quiz, and then today is the first lesson. So today we are doing lesson 13. We started lesson 13 today. Today's lesson 13 was about patterns, looking at different patterns. Patterns could be something that repeats. It could be different shapes that might repeat a pattern. It could be numbers that repeat a pattern, like skip counting. That's a pattern. It's counting by a certain number. Or it could also be colors. You can have blue, red, or red, red, blue. And that could be a pattern. Or one of the kids today let me recognize another pattern that it never entered my mind. They gave me their initials back to back, so you could have letters that create patterns. So there are many things we could use that create patterns. So that's what the lesson was about today. Now, it was a short lesson. It was a quick lesson, so homework isn't too long today, but we're going to go ahead and jump right on into it. The quiz for this lesson is going to be on Tuesday. Now, I want to tell you some things about that quiz. I know that Monday we have that day off. So when we come back on Tuesday, it's going to be our quiz, but we will do the review this Friday. So the review material will be going home. So make sure you review that while we are on that little tiny break, so they are ready for Tuesday. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump right in. So we are on page 275 in our book. And we did the vocabulary in class together because I like to go through that vocabulary with them, make sure they get a great understanding of what the vocabulary is. So we're going to go ahead and go to number 2. So number 2 says, look at the pattern of shapes below. So Ms. Newman went ahead and drew the pattern of shapes. This is what's on your sheet. It says, continue the pattern by drawing the shape that you think comes next. Explain why you drew that shape. Okay, so if we look at the pattern, so there is a square, a rectangle, circle. Square, rectangle, circle. So I'm looking at 3 shapes that seems to be repeating themselves. We have the square first, the rectangle, then a circle, and then that's a group. So here comes another group with the same shapes. Square, rectangle, circle in the same order. So now I have another group of the same shapes in the same order, square, rectangle. So the only logical shape that will come next would be our circle. So the answer for this would be circle. And they asked us to explain why we think it would be a circle. The explanation that I would say is because when you look at the different groupings of the shape, it's always square, rectangle, circle. So the last thing in this group would be the circle. So the groups have square, rectangle, circle. The circle is the shape missing in that group. And I'll put it in groups so you can see what I mean by groups. So this will be a group. Then you have this, a group. And then this will be a group. So if you can group things, sometimes groupings help you see things a little clearer. So as you can see, these are the groupings, and the last thing missing would be that circle. Okay, let's go ahead and go to number 3. That's 3. I was going to say 2. 3. So it says, on the chart below, shade all of the numbers that would be in the pattern 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So they give us a pattern. And that pattern is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. First of all, we need to figure out what's the pattern or the rule. The pattern or the rule is something that it's like the instructions or the directions that you follow for that particular problem. So if I look at this, the instructions are the pattern or the rules that it's following is that it's counting by twos. So it starts at 2, then it goes to 4, 6, 8, 10. So it's counting by 2. So we're going to go on this chart and we're going to shed in all of the ones that are, all the numbers that are counting by 2. So I'm going to go ahead and switch that over to a little highlighter. And I'm going to start with the 2. So I'm going to shed in 2. Wait, let me make it a little darker. Let's see. Can you guys see it? No? Let's try it again. All right, let's see. Well, that color isn't working out so well. Let me see if I can, I'm trying to use a color that you could see. Let's try red. Maybe red would work well shedding in. Oh. Okay. Because I want you to still be able to see the actual number. I want you to see the actual number, which why I want to use a highlighter so that you can kind of still see the number. Let's try, let's see, maybe the blue. No, it's still on red. Okay. Let's see. Let's see the blue. Okay, that's not really, you can't really see it. Okay, so this is what we're gonna do. I'm trying hard, guys, so that I can find a color that works best with this highlighter. Let's see. The green is a little better. Okay, Ms. Newman is just gonna move on from the highlighter, and I'm gonna just go back to the actual, what is this thing? Let's see. Maybe this thing will work a little better. Oh, look at that, guys. I found something that works better. Okay, so 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and if we keep counting by 2s, the next number would be 12, then 14, 16, 18, 20, okay, then we're going to keep going, 22, 24, no, I'm sorry guys, 26, 28, and 30. So these will be all the numbers that are following that rule or that pattern of counting by 2. So that's all you had to do for number 3. So let's go to number 4. Number 4 says, what rule could you use to find the next number in this pattern? So I actually was just telling you about that. I said that the rules was that it was, let me see if I can get out of this. Okay, go back to the pen. Okay, so the rule, we said that it was counting by, I'm gonna write it underneath here, number 4. So it was counting by 2. Okay. So then they want to know they want us to use what we just figured out, that it was counting by 2, to figure out what would be the next, because it said find the next number in this pattern. So the next number in this pattern would be, if I continue counting by 2s, this is the pattern right here, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So the next number would be 12, because that comes after 10 if we're counting by 2. So I will put the next number is 12. Okay, so now let's go ahead and go to number 5. Now number 5 says, I'll put number 5 over here, Yeah, and I'm trying to keep it all on the same board because they all go together. 3 goes with all of this. So number 5 says circle the numbers 18, 16, and 24. So let's circle that. So I'm going to circle the numbers 18. Wait, let me go back because I don't think it said 18. Let me double check. 8. It said 8. Then it says the number 16, okay? And then the number 24. So those are the numbers they asked me to circle. So I just circled it. So it says, describe any pattern or rule that you see in the circle numbers. So if I look at the circle numbers, I have 8. I'm going to write over here. I have 8, 16, and 24. So the pattern I see is that it seems to be counting by 8. So I'm going to put that. The pattern is counting by 8. Okay, so let's keep reading that one because it was a long one. I like to go piece by piece. So it says, write and circle the next number in this pattern in the correct box on the chart. So now they want to know what would be the next number that we would circle if we keep counting by 8. So the next number that comes after 8, if we skip count by 8, that would be 32. But there is no 32 in our chart, but they did give us an extra row. So we just have to fill in those numbers. So let's go ahead and fill in those numbers. So we stopped at 30, this is 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, and 40. So we finished that last final row, and now we're going to go ahead and circle because it says to write. So we wrote it and circle. So let's go ahead and circle. So the next number would be 32 that I would circle. Now, that is all they, yep, that's all they asked us to do number 5. So let's go to number 6. So number 6 says, I'm going to put number 6 over here. All right, number 6 says, will the numbers in the pattern from problem 5, so the numbers in our pattern from problem 5, remember those were 8, 16, 24, and 32. So it says, will the numbers in the pattern from problem 5 also be shaded? Why or why not? So let's think about this. If we were shedding in the numbers, let me get out your way. I'm sorry, I'm going to hold you up. Okay. And I'm going to scoot over on this side so you can get the other side. So let's think about the reason why we shaded in the numbers. What was the pattern that told us to shed in the numbers? If we go back, the pattern that told us to shed in the numbers is when we were skip counting by 2. So let's see. If we continue skip counting by 2, let's see if that is 32 is one of the numbers that we're going to continue shedding in. So I'm going to try to get back where I was, guys, with that little marker thing. There we go. And I'm going to continue shedding in. So after 30, it was 32. So 32 did get shedded in. So that means it does, let's go back and read, make sure we're answering our question right. Will the number in the pattern from 5 also be shedded? Yes. So that means it did fall into the rule or the pattern of skip counting or counting by 2s. So they asked us to, let me go back to my pen. It says, why or why not? So we're going to put yes, because 32 follows the pattern of counting by 2. Because that's why we were counting by 2 when we shedded in those numbers. And if we continue counting by 2, it did fall into that pattern. So yes, we did shed it in. And that is it for homework, guys. It was a real quick, simple homework. Everything fit on one board. The lesson was very short today as well. So that is it. If you have any questions on patterns, just send me something in the comments or send me something through our PBIS app. I will be more than happy to answer all your questions. I will do a video on tomorrow because we do have another lesson, and I think that is the final lesson for this week. Our video for this week, not the final lesson, because let me double check. I don't want to tell you anything wrong. So we have a homework tomorrow. So tomorrow will be a video, and then after that, it is going to be review day. So tomorrow will be the last YouTube lesson for this week because it's a short lesson. Lesson 13 is short. It's only 3 lessons, and it's 2 lessons and then a review. So today was the first lesson, and then tomorrow's the second lesson, and then Friday's a review. So I will see you guys on tomorrow for that second lesson, and then after we do that second lesson, it is review. Make sure you're going to be studying that review, because on Tuesday when we come back, we're going straight into a quiz. So that is it for today. I just want to please make sure you, I just keep saying it again, I know. Please make sure you review. Make sure you're practicing your skip counting. Make sure you're practicing your division. And now we're doing patterns. Because right after lesson 13 quiz, which is on Tuesday, that Friday, we have our unit test. And the unit test is usually a big test because it covers all the lessons in this unit, which is a good amount of lessons. I think, let me tell you to be sure, because Ms. Zillman, she likes to be sure. I'll tell you right now how many lessons we had in this unit. I know it was quite a few. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 lessons. So it's going to cover 10 lessons, and those 10 lessons are lessons 4 when we first started our multiplication, starting with number 0 and going all the way up to lesson 13, which is the pattern. So it's going to cover all multiplication facts from 0 to 10. It's going to cover the division, and it's going to cover patterns. So again, make sure you're practicing your multiplication, make sure you're practicing your division, because remember, if you can multiply, you can divide. If you can skip count, you can multiply. So make sure you're practicing all of that, so we will have a great outcome for our unit test. And that is it. I will see you guys on tomorrow. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.